But there is one thing I have noted that we do, which we need to always constantly evaluate whether it is the right thing to do. The first engagement we get after campus, the first thing you do after campus like this, it becomes your home for the next many decades. And many times I reflect and wonder, if whatever we get as a first vocation when we graduate from our various institutions, if it continues to define who we become for so long, then I think it's important to also evaluate where we start. Because if where we start can define us for too long, then it's important to know where. But I am here to talk to you because you've already started. And because you've already started, you're already working. I think it's important to keep on evaluating. Keep on evaluating. Yes, I got the job because I graduated, I needed a job. Wherever I am in private practice, I am doing so, maybe as an employee or the founder or the owner, because that's the first thing, that's what I'm doing. But I think it's important to keep on evaluating, including myself as a leader. Wherever I am, in the position I hold, in the county government, me as the MP for Kiharu, Mosiria as the chief, or Ozipi, you keep on evaluating. Am I here because of circumstance? Am I here because it is the only place I should be? From KU, I had done some math because I knew several things I wanted to do. One is to run away from poverty. And money is the one that fights poverty. Employing so many people, Safaricom and the rest. I knew, based on what I talked about, the first vocation, I knew if I first get a job at that particular time, obligations will start in a few years. And obligation domiciles us to what we do. The fear we have in this room today, even as I talk about evaluating what we do and whether we can step out, the biggest fear is, huyu jamaa anajua ndiye naanza familia. Does this guy knows that I have people I am paying school fees for? Because obligations come to ground us. But I always ask myself, here is a dentist. You fear to break the glass ceiling of advancing to where you are more productive. Is where you are what you'd want to be doing in the next 20 years? If it is, continue. I was in ISPAC conference the last 2 days. And the day before yesterday, we had a chat with some of the participants there in the evening. And what was coming forward is that many of us are trapped in an equilibrium. In an equilibrium where, okay, it's not hot, it's not cold, it's there. It's maintaining our bills, it's helping us pay bills. And therefore we are trapped there. Because we think the fear of getting out of the risks is too huge. Then, because we were discussing about investments, I was telling them, and I'm telling you passively, at our age here in this room, it's also based on the point I'm drive home. When I'm doing an investment, let's say you have money doing some investments. I don't think, one person asked me in that place, what would you tell a 60-year-old in terms of investments? And what would you tell a 35-year-old? The 60-year-old I was talking about in terms, they segmented that because of one person may need constancy of money. After 60 years old, you don't want to experiment. I was telling them ourselves in that bracket of 35, give or take. I don't think we are people who are going somewhere to do incremental or to get incremental growth in our wealth, in our career, in our investments. I think that is an age where we have to look much more than 10%, 20%. That's about money. but also even about career. Ask yourself, if at the pace you are going at, wherever you are employed, if you are just incremental, you can only move now to this place, to the next step, then to the next step, then to the next step. How long will it take you to reach where you want to reach? How many steps will you have taken? That incremental. I think our age is not for incremental. Our age is for a much higher speed. And I think our ambitions in this hall are not more for incremental, but for much more. If I'm looking at setting up a private practice in this room today, I'll not be thinking about me as the doctor, the one seeing the patients. I'll be looking at facilities, seeing much more people than I can do myself. Because this one that conditions me to only do it myself, I think it is too limiting. I hope I'm not talking Greek. Are we together? Let me talk about naongea juju. Kuna kitu moja nimeona hii Kenya. And it doesn't matter which course you did in high school, in university. It also doesn't respect the kind of grade you got in your KCSE. I don't know whether we are conditioned around it. It's a pitfall I have seen all of us getting into. When we get our first job, when we get to the next position, it is the pitfall of leveraging, the pitfall of loans. I don't know where it came from. If this whole I say, anyone akona loan pahali, staki kuwaibisha, but I know almost all of us in this room has one form of a loan or the other. Either in a SACCO, or in a bank, or in a Cyrock, or in all. I've not even talked about Fuliza. And by the way you are laughing, I think all of you are there. It is a pitfall. You know, many times when I'm conversing with people, I want to confirm whether what I'm thinking is right. And in most of the conversations I have with people, including my colleagues in parliament, once you get into parliament, the orientation you get, take a mortgage. I don't know of how much, because you are told there is a law. Second one, you are given something called a car mortgage. Also take. When you get your first job in the county, the first thing you want to do, take a loan to buy a Subaru. Take a loan to start buying the many things I talk about, especially L0AN. Now, hii kitu tulitoa wapi kama wa Kenya? That you don't feel like you have gotten employed until you have taken a loan. And you know, once you are employed in the county or the national government or even in the private sector, it's not you who looks for the banks. It is the banks who look for you. Where are they looking for you? Why? Kwa nini bank ati ukipata tu job? I am even surprised today one of our sponsors is not a bank. Oh, there is one sponsor who is a bank. No, this is an investment bank. There's a difference. But I know maybe they're in the background. Please allow me to address this issue. Because I think we need a change of mind also in that area. That every new entrant in the job sector in Kenya, your first 3 months, you are filling loan forms. Whether you are a doctor, a teacher, an MP, a minister, even ministers in Kenya, once you get your job, you are told stories. Mortgage, I don't know, car loan. And I'm not talking because I'm an outsider, or I'm not talking to you because I am better off. We come to this kind of a function to share ideas. And I can guarantee you, other than help, me, I've never taken a loan. Other than higher education loans board. And because we are sharing opinions, it's not that I know everything. We are just sharing. What are the kind of loans we take when we get employed? You people, you are looking at me, county government. Hapa, nyinyi naona nyinyi wote mko na loan. Mosiri ya kwanza, sasa kazi imeisha uko na loan. Lakini the beauty, you got another one, maybe a better one. Why is it this thing that every Kenyan in every way, whether you work for Kenya, KAA, whether you work for Parliament, whether you work for County Government of Nairobi, whether you work anywhere, how comes you all have loans? And what are these kind of loans? The first loan we get is a car loan. Umepata job, watu watajuaje uko na kazi. So you fill up form, you get a car loan. Do we sit down? You know, many times when I'm having these kind of conversations, we go to school. Me, I went to Kiabugi Secondary, KU, did my master's. All of you here, you are learned than myself. Doctors. Me, I'm not a doctor. I am a master. You are all doctors. That you can go to the University of Nairobi, study, become a dentist, a doctor. So you think about other people's oral health. You are very good at taking 5-6 years to think about other people's oral health. But we rarely take any moment to think about our finances. That the source of our information on finances is when we meet in a group like this. You are ladies, you have met for chama. That is your number one source of investment information. And then you don't filter. Whatever you get, waboisi alisema kulima nyanya ni kitu mzuri sana. Immediately you are doing it. So we meet, the first thing we do, take a loan for a car. But we never sit down to analyze. This loan I'm taking, loan of 2.5 million shillings to buy a car. Number one, how many times will I be using this car? Number two, I am already taking a loan, 2.5 million. Tufanye hesabu na nyinyi. So unajua unaona tu top line. Ile umerisiwa na bank, 2.5 million. Loan ya how much? Ya 5 years. At what percent? You are given kizungu, reducing balance, blah, 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 at 18%. Can you do 18% of your 2.5 million in 5 years? The 2.5 million, the interest alone will be, the interest rates na zile tu charges unalipishwa hapo, sijui tunafanya search ya gari, tu vitu tu hapo. Ukiongeza the 2.5 million ile imelipwa mwenye gari, and you add the interest rate and the other charges, your car is no longer worth 2.5 million. You bought a car of 4 million shillings.